How y'all doing tonight? This is your old buddy, the Hillbilly Engineer. And tonight, this is the follow-up video to the ceramic heat break issue that I posted recently. With the help of some very fine people out there in the community, we've kind of put our heads together and we've come to a consensus that this should be an easy fix for the average user. Now, y'all don't need to be a highfalutin engineer to do this. It's going to be real simple. We got some simple things you can purchase on Amazon to make this work, and I'm going to hopefully guide you through this thing step by step. Really looking forward to making this thing work for you all. I know a bunch of you all have lost heat breaks, and it's just, I can see the globs of doom out there. I see it every night when I get on Reddit, get on Discord. We've always got somebody out there with the ceramic heat break cracking. Well, in my first video, I gave you some examples. We'll do a quick recap of that. Basically, what you have is a misalignment here between the ceramic heater and the heat sink. What happens is, at the factory, these set screws hold in place these tiny little rods here. Okay, hopefully I can get this in here to so you guys can see that. Maybe I can zoom in here and we'll see. You see those little rods in there? Well, those rods are sitting on shoulders that's in the heat break, the ceramic heater. I get a little tongue tied here. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to do some preventive maintenance and possible long-term fix here. We're going to guide you through a step of pulling a hot end out of the box, like this one is, straight out of the box. Okay, and we're going to align this ceramic heater to the heat sink tonight. So what you'll need is you'll need a trusty little Allen wrench. It's a 1.25 millimeter Allen wrench. Yeah, they don't make many of those anymore, but I found them on Amazon in a kit here that has a bunch of set screws in it. So I went out and bought some set screws, and you can do that, or you can use the existing set screws that are in there. But either way, sometimes these set screws, they'll fall out. And I've got one, my very first hot end, stainless steel hot end with, I had a set screw fall out, and it was not a pretty sight. So luckily the stainless steel heat break kept things stable. But in case you have set screws missing, you should go out and buy some of these set screws here. One is the M2.5, and the length is 3 millimeters. So that's part of what you're going to need. The next thing you're going to need is some nice little blue thread locker. This is semi-permanent, and we don't want the red type, guys. You'll never get that set screw out if you get red Loctite in there. I bought this at the $1.25 store, and it's really easy. The next thing you're going to want is you're going to want some thermal paste. Okay, this thermal paste will save your tail. Always, when you replace a hot end, guys, you newbies out there, you're going to want some thermal paste. This is basically boron nitride. Okay, and I'll show you how to coat it here in a few moments. But this is really inexpensive on Amazon, less than 10 bucks. Okay, and you'll want some tools. You'll need a 7mm socket to take out the nozzle, and some patience, because it's what it takes. Okay, so let's begin. I've got a brand new hot end out of the box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my set screw. I'm going to loosen that set screw up. Okay. I'm not going to take them out. We're just going to loosen them up. Because what I want is I want that tension in there in those rods to be relieved. Okay. Now, once you get that going, you'll feel a little looseness in there. Okay. So next, take your 7mm socket and take that nozzle out. Okay. Now, if they did things right at the factory, this nozzle should have some thermal grease already on it. And they have. How about that? Okay. Now you want to apply the thermal grease right there on the two copper sections. That way you get good thermal conductivity there. You get that heat transference, okay, and your nozzle and hot end just work in sync. Okay. So now that we've got that loosened up, okay, we're going to want to make sure, just kind of eye it there, eyeball that, okay. It looks like it's pretty good, all right. It wants to turn a little bit. You'll feel a little turn there. All right. Now, I'm going to replace this hot end. Sorry, nozzle with a 0.4mm hardened steel nozzle. I'm going to grab my thermal paste. I'm just going to lightly apply. Take the cap off first. That'll help. Lightly apply that thermal paste. You don't want too much, okay? Once you screw that nozzle in there, that thermal paste will smooth around out. So now that I've got like a nice thin film, I'm going to apply a little bit down here. Okay. Don't want too much. Okay, set that aside. I'll get a little bit of that excess off. Don't like that excess. All right, now when you screw this nozzle back in there, guys, I want you to pay attention, because as you screw that nozzle in there, and it proceeds to go up inside that heat sink, you may feel some friction. If you feel friction now with those set screws loosened, you've got some more serious issues. Okay, now since I've loosened up those set screws, I don't feel that friction. Now in my previous video, it was hard as heck to try to get that nozzle in there just with my fingers. Now to recap that, when someone's changing a nozzle out there with the hot end mounted, you're using this tool, you don't feel that friction, because that tool does not impart the tactile feedback that you need to know when you're installing this thing. So it's hard to tell friction from a tool this size dealing with a part this size. So once we've got that all the way screwed in there, I don't feel any friction. Okay, really nice and smooth, smooth as a baby's bottom. How about that? Okay, now the next thing you want to do is, if any of you have ever put on an automobile tire, you know that you want to tighten the lug nuts, not in a circle. You want to do a diagonal and a cross over it, like a star. Okay, in this case, we've only got 4 set screws to work with. So I'm going to pick a set screw. Say, let's pick one right here. I want to tighten that set screw down. Now notice I don't have any Loctite on this thing yet, okay? I'm going to tighten it down. And then I'm going to go to the opposite side. Okay? I'm going to tighten that side down. Now why is that important? Well, if you're tightening these two first, you're going to bias that ceramic heater to that side. By tightening the diagonal across the center line of the ceramic heater, okay, I'm helping myself to align that ceramic heater up to that heat sink. Now, I'm going to come back here on this side again. Tighten this side. I'll come back here. Make sure that's tight. We're good. And complete the job by tightening this side. Now we're going to check our work. Okay, since we've tightened that nozzle up in there, I want to make sure, okay, that the job that I did here with the set screws in place is good, it's valid. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start unscrewing that nozzle. Now, if you've done a good job in tightening those little set screws up, you won't feel any friction. So far, I'm not feeling any friction, and I'm going back and forth. That tells me that that nozzle diameter up inside that heat sink is straight on, and that's what we want. Because if that's straight on, no matter what kind of heat cycling that we do with this nozzle and heat sink, we know that that center line all the way through is straight. And that's what you want. Okay, so I'll continue that. Now just to make sure I've done a good job, I'll go back and recheck my set screws. That's good. That's good. And that's good. Now I've left out that blue Loctite. I think for the sake of filming this, it would be a lot easier for you guys just to know that once you put that set screw in there for the first time, okay, then you apply the blue Loctite. I'm not that deft, okay? It would be a mess, okay? So just so you know, all right? And I don't want a messy video. Okay, so that's basically it. That's all you need to do. Now you've got a nozzle that's straight, in line with the ceramic heater and the heat sink. But the job's not completely done yet. What you want to do is when you mount that thing, you want to make sure that you get that nozzle all the way up to a temperature that you're going to be printing with, like PLA. You want to pull that nozzle to like 210, 220, okay? And then make sure that that nozzle's tightened in. It's always a good idea, if you do a cold tighten on this nozzle, to put it in the machine, okay, run it up to temp, and then make sure it's tightened. Now, there's a link out there that'll tell you, for those persnickety guys out there, what the torque value is. Okay, a lot of people don't pay attention to that. Some people don't, some people do. It's just what your preference is, okay? So now that I've got that thing all the way in there, I've got a successful repair of a hot end nozzle and ceramic heater that I know when I put in that machine is going to cycle very well. After this, we'll turn our focus over to a disassemble of the hot end from a +4 machine. And we'll stop the video there, and I'll see you in a few moments. Okay, we've shifted our focus over here to the +4. Y'all, I want you to meet Shemp. Shemp was first +4 that I purchased from Qidi. he's been a very good printer. Not without some issues, but pretty much solid. He's printed a lot of parts. Now what you're looking at there in the front of the hot end is a mod that I found out there on printables. So an original idea from Stu675, and the community just can't thank Stu enough for what he's done. Okay, I found this very easy mod to print, you all. It was the very first mod that I ever printed for this machine, and it saved my hind end many times from many heat creeps, okay, overheating. What it does is it contains that flow of air from getting out into the inside of the print head cover. Okay, now there are other mods out there some of you guys like, okay, and you know, it's whatever you prefer. Okay, I want to show you something else here before I get into this video. Okay, on my second +4 that I purchased recently, Qidi has come up with their answer to redirecting the flow of air from that fan. Okay, it's a nice little part that they've quickly put a injection mold together for. Okay, and some of you new users out there, you may have a machine with this in it. This basically sits in here and gets attached to these two bottom screws on the fan. Okay, it really kind of splits that airflow. I think what I've calculated was like a 60% loss of air, between 40 and 60% loss of air. Really what we should do is, you know, as I've seen some good mods out there where we've moved the fan down. Okay, we tilted, there's one out there recently that I saw where a gentleman had tilted the fan downward. Okay, so there's a lot of good mods out there to help prevent heat creep, but I'm going to tell you something, guys. This little mod right here is worth its weight. I printed it from ASA on the same machine, stuck it in there. It's real easy to install. All you got to do is just take the tabs and go right over it. Okay, it's just too easy. I mean, this is the KISS principle, guys. You know, keep it simple, stupid. All right, now what we're going to do is, for everyone out there, when you remove this hot end from the machine, for you newbies out there, I don't advise removing the hot end with the machine on. Okay, you'll as soon as you take out that plug, okay, clipper is going to tell you that there's a disconnection there, and it'll shut off itself. But for the sake of, you know, shorting out the machine, doing something there, I always recommend reaching back here and just shutting it off. Okay, take your Allen wrench. Okay, loosen that up a little bit. You can do this first, or some of you prefer to reach up there and grab that plug. It's got a lever on the bottom of it, and sometimes it's hard to pull out. I kind of like that because you know it's going to be sturdy when that print head moves. Okay, so either way you want to do it, you can loosen up your set screws. Okay, now what we're doing here, folks, is we're displaying some preventive maintenance for all you guys out there and gals that have these +4s and you want this issue resolved. You're going to take that hot end out. Okay, inspect it, look it over. Okay, now this is a new hot end. Okay, I've not used this thing at all, so there's no filament in it. You want to make sure that you purge as much filament out of that thing as you can. Okay, and if it's still hot and you've got filament in it, you want to loosen up that nozzle some, okay? All right, to make sure that you can get that nozzle out with all that dried filament and cool filament in there. That's what I always do. Some people do it a little bit differently, but I've always found it's a lot easier to remove a nozzle when the filament is completely purged. I even use purging filament that you can buy on Amazon. It's very cheap. Okay, run a bunch of that through there, like $250, $260. If you've just had some, like say, some PPS carbon fiber, that filament, purging filament will actually come out of there at $280. All right, so it's a good thing to do. So what we'll do is we'll pause the video here, and then we'll go back over to the workbench. Okay, here we are back at the workbench. We've just removed our hot end from the +4. Okay, now I got a 0.4 nozzle in there at the moment. Okay, guys, I want to run some PEG carbon fiber parts here, so I want to move that 0.4 nozzle out of there. I'm going to put a 0.6. Okay, so I've got a one-piece hardened steel nozzle straight from Qidi. Already prepped it with some thermal grease, thermal paste. Okay, so I'm going to pull that out. Now, once again, if you've got filament in there, this may be a little messy. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're just going to throw caution to the wind here. All right, and we're going to remove the set screws, and we're going to put some Loctite on that bad boy. Okay, I just don't want to take any chances, not with a $35 nozzle. Okay, and I know some of you out there have been moaning about losing the tungsten carbide nozzles. Sorry about your luck there, Stu. I know how you feel, brother. Okay, so it's a very, 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 just a little bit right there. See, just a little drop. Okay, all right, now we'll screw that back in. Wow, I did that without making a mess. How about that? My mama would be proud. Now I'm not going to pull that all the way in. I'm not going to screw it all the way in. Okay, so hopefully my editing will be able to speed this up a little bit, so you guys won't have to suffer through me running through this with arthritis. Yeah, when you get to be 60 years old, fellas, your body starts to slow down, so you gotta take precautions. Wow, look at that. Wow, my mama would be proud. No runs, no drips, no errors. How about that? All right, and we'll go back. We'll take these other two out. I know, guys, it's boring, but you got to do it. I mean, if you want to save your ceramic heat breaks, you got to do it. It's just, there's no choice. I mean, you either want to spend the money, okay, or spend the time. Which would you rather do? Spend the time doing a little preventive maintenance, okay? What is it that Ben Franklin said? And a pound of prevention is worth an ounce of cure, or is it? Or we want to strike that, maybe reverse that. So an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Okay. I knew what that was, guys. I was just testing you. What I need is Bob Ross in here. We need Bob's voice. I don't have a voice for this stuff. My mama said once that I have a face for radio. Didn't know what she meant there, but maybe she was commenting on my looks. I still love my mama. Bless her heart, rest her soul. That one doesn't want to come out for some reason. How about that, guys? Now, it'd be nice if Qidi, now you engineers out there, Qidi engineers, you know, it'd be nice if you guys would apply a little, you know, bit of Loctite in there. Okay, man, this guy, look, he doesn't want to, the last one just doesn't want to come out. He likes his home in there. Okay, there we go. All right, and we'll apply another drop. Another beautiful job there. What about that? I'm so proud of myself. Now, we're going to put you back in there tight, buddy. We're not going to let you come out. Now, some of you may have noticed on some of your hot ends out there that there's some thermal paste between this clamp here and that heater pad. That transfers the heat through there. She does a good job of that. I'll have to give him credit for that. Okay, now we don't have them all tightened in. Okay, now if my old eyes could see, that's the 0.4, and this is the 0.6. We're about to turn Shemp into a PETG carbon fiber beast. Now, as I'll screw that in there, be able to detect with your fingers, guys, that any out of roundness. Now, I'm getting a little bit right there. I'm getting a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give that heater just a little tug, okay, until I can feel it going in there easier. You should be able to screw that nozzle in with your fingers. And if I can screw this nozzle in with my old fingers, arthritic fingers, you guys can do that too, because you youngsters out there, you guys, I'm telling you, you got some smart people out there. You young guys are taking over. Okay. Now, once again, we'll go and we'll tighten our set screws up in opposing fashion. It's tight. Over here. That's tight. We'll come back here and do this one. That's tight. And then we'll come back here and do the opposite. And that's tight. Now, there you go. Once again, once we get this nozzle back in there, guys, we want to cycle it up, get it to temp, okay? Unscrew it a little bit once you get it to temp. That way you're getting those threads on the inside of that heater. You're getting those threads in that nozzle threads just right, okay? Because there's going to be some thread engagement there. We're looking at maybe 60% thread engagement, but that heat's going to take up a lot of that thread engagement. And that's very important. I can't stress that enough, fellas. Okay, now I think we're done here. We'll put her back in and we'll start running some PETG carbon fiber. To close out the video, I wanted to just take time out to thank everybody out there. When I started in this whole business of these Qidis, you know, I had a lot of people come to my aid. They were really great. I mean, you had Riz, you had 802 Garage, you had Make It, you had Mistral Wood, all those guys. And I really want to just give a really great shout out to the folks on Discord. You know, Valentine, you know, Nitro, you guys, and Stu675. Well, I just can't thank you enough. You do so much for this community. And, you know, you guys need a shout out. You really do. You need to just stand up and take a bow. So that should be it for tonight's video. Hopefully this proposed solution to the ceramic heat break issue will come to a close. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. I really appreciate that. And please always be polite, be super polite, offer constructive criticism, because who knows, you may have a better idea than me, and I'm all ears. This has been Hillbilly Engineer, and may all your prints be pristine. Good night, everybody.